Our guest today carries his family's legacy with pride. He honors the work of his father, national artist for architecture, Francisco Bobby Manosa, while giving it a modern touch.
How is he fusing the best of both worlds? Let's find out. Joining us on the Daily Dish is architect Gelo Mañosa.
Gelo Mañosa in the house.
Good morning.
Good afternoon to
Good
you.
afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How are you
That's
today?
right.
Yeah, how
Very
exciting. You're here on a day where there's a lot of news coming in from the Senate and Congress. But before that, we'd like to know, of course, anything about architecture. We invited you because our viewers want to know how it is to create a new home, a secondary or third home, either in the city or in the beach or even going down to perhaps building a building. How does the Mañosa touch fold into this?
Oh, wow. Okay, very, very big question.
Yeah, but let's break it down, okay?
Okay.
You went all straight ahead. so anyway, Mai, would you like to ask the first question?
Fuse culture into and the Manosa touch. How does it all work out in your designs?
So we typically begin. Let's say if we have a project, we typically begin, of course, by studying the site, getting the requirements of a client. We look at the site, where it's located, if it's in an island, if it's in the city, if it's out of town. We look at what the local culture is in that area,
nice.
which always has tradition injected into it. Then we kind of infuse that idea of putting in culture, tradition, the Pinoy spirit, understanding the community that or the setting that it's in, and we integrate that into the architecture. And I think it's very important to not just understand your client, but also understand the context of your site, where it's located.
I like that, Mai, because as architect Mañosa said, they study the culture of where you're building. Why is that important?
Because architecture really needs a sense of place. You can't, let's say, design a Swiss chalet in Tagaytay, the Philippines. I mean, it's completely, it's a completely disconnected idea, ideology, right? We always believe that Philippine architecture for the Filipino, and we kind of wake up every day and have that kind of mindset in everything we do, whether we're designing, a kennel. For a pet, all the way up to a mansion for a client, right?
I was about to say anybody that's controversial.
Yeah, I mean it has to have that. Yeah, but of course one item that is also very, very critical is also understanding climate and how climate plays into the whole game of architecture.
You've actually designed a kennel?
Yeah.
What was the grandest kennel that you designed?
A kennel was more on the importance of just maintenance of the structure.
They're priced for children.
Yeah, because some of these dogs they cost more than
the kennel itself.
The kennel itself, absolutely.
But
absolutely,
the last picture. Can we show that again? The one in the resort. What resort is this? The one by the water, this one.
I know where this is. This is in Palawan.
Yes, that's in Palawan. That's Banwa Private
Island.
Oh, yes, that's why it's familiar.
Yes,
I've been there.
Yeah, Banwa's gorgeous. This was, it's reputed to be one of the most expensive island resorts in the world.
It is the most expensive.
Right, but I think, let's talk about this because the Mañosa brand I always associate with the Bahay Kubo.
Yes.
Okay. How did you, transpose the idea of Bahay Kubo to this resort?
Okay, so this resort.
Well, that's Aman.
That's Aman Pulo. Yeah.
My favorite spot there.
Yeah. So Banwa in particular was kind of a takeover project that we did. So the architecture was already dictated. We came in more to complete the project and to do the interiors of the island development. And what we focused on was the Tagbanwa tribe.
Okay.
which is why it's called Banwa.
Banwa.
Because of
Banwa.
Tagbanwa.
That makes sense.
How many villas did you design there? Because they only have 6.
Yeah,
if I remember
there's 6
correctly.
villas, and then there's a. So the island itself was not supposed to be a commercial project. It was really meant to be a residential island for the client, who eventually, after the pandemic, decided to open it up to for commercial use.
Yes.
So he had 6 villas that was designed, and then there was an entourage building which I think had about 12 rooms, and the entourage was really more for the entourage
Yeah,
of
it's the staff.
of the staff that would end up going in. But
Right.
I mean that is still there. It's currently not being used. Simply because they focus on the 6 villas.
Yes. I have a question, Mai. If
Yeah.
you had ₱1 billion, where would you build a house here in the Philippines?
I'd actually buy buy an island if I could.
But where?
Palawan.
Okay,
is
and
one
then
of the
I'm
best
asking because
islands.
how would you then design Mai's, what's the idea of Mai's island residence?
Well, okay. One thing you have to remember about buying an island is kind of like a boat, right?
It sinks.
you gotta bring everything to it, right? And the biggest challenge when you do island developments like this is always power and water. That's the two most important problems with having an island, and of course, it's being able to manage that cost. There are always sustainable alternatives to it, but it really depends on your luho, right? And how the simpler the structure, the easier the project becomes.
And something that could stand the elements,
correct,
withstand the elements.
correct. And the more complex the structure, then the more challenging the
But Mai has ₱1 billion, so I don't think
Talking
power.
What about you? What would you do with ₱1 billion?
As a house, to have architect
A retirement
Mañosa.
home, probably.
Actually, I do. We've actually discussed. Although I don't have ₱1 billion, architect Gelo and I, in passing, and I have discussed my dream house. I told him, Gelo. Well, I call him Gelo. Sorry. I just want one central thing, which is a wine cellar in the main pavilion structure. I got inspired because I've had the privilege of going to his beach house, and it completely inspired me because of the way he did the architecture there and how environmentally sound it is.
yes.
Yeah.
So
What location, though, would you look into, Ferdy? If it was for a second home or a third home?
Well, it's my dream is the one in Palawan, and the other one is in Bohol.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, again, island developments always have their challenges. With climate change, it's you have to project for a 10-year floodplain. You have to project for
Flood again.
yeah. Because
Gelo-
I mean, as climate change happens, the sea levels rise,
Yes.
and as the sea levels rise, it does affect internally the way we drain our cities, the way the islands are developed. We
Yes.
lose our beaches.
Actually, there's a lot of talk now into more climate resilient designs
Yes.
and structures. So
Yes.
your designs are geared towards those things.
We always have to look at it that way. We always look at climate first.
Yes, which is interesting, Architect Gelo, because what he mentioned was, how water levels are rising and floods and stuff like that. And in passing, we had a conversation about a resort project that you had originally designed with your father, and you had to raise structures. Was that correct?
Yes. So it was about the difference between my father's time and our time. The water levels have risen close to 2.5 feet.
Can you imagine?
So high
Mike?
tide was
Yeah.
2.5 feet
Higher.
difference.
Yes.
Higher, yeah.
That's scary.
So it's and that's talking about 25 years, right? So it doesn't mean in another 25 years it'll be another 2.5 feet, because climate change it's kind of racing. So it can actually happen in less time. So it can be another 2.5 feet in 15 years, could be 10 years, and that's the problem with our climate models. So we don't really know for sure.
Right, because a lot of our viewers, I'm sure, have beachfront properties, and this is a great conversation to have because you have to incorporate that in your plans, or if you haven't yet already,
absolutely,
you need to think. You need to think about that.
You have to adapt.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Ideally, you think about it before you begin.
Yes, but of course, it's already built.
Talk to us about your father, the national artist, an icon in Philippine architecture. How was it growing up with him and like his influence?
Oh, very strong influence. It started when I was a child. He would take me to job sites and construction sites. So I was exposed to that world at a very young age. Playing with building blocks. I loved Lego. So it was really part of my growing up years.
So did you know early on that this was the path that you were going to take, follow his footsteps?
I teeter-tottered for a while between getting into agriculture and architecture.
Wow.
And in the end, he just kind of looked at me and said, "Nope, you're taking architecture," and that was it.
He didn't want you to become a farmer.
No. But and I think that's part of the architecture influences that now drive my philosophy. Like if you look at a lot of the work that we do now, it's very landscape driven, right? I've been experimenting quite a bit with earth mass and playing with green roofs with my architecture, and I think that could be maybe my agriculture side trying to come in and
yeah, that's
play
interesting
influence.
because Bahay Kubos around, obviously you've got patches of like a garden patch where you grow your vegetables and stuff like
Yes.
that, and you would see the roofs also that have vines encroaching into the structure. So that's interesting in how that came out.
Yeah, so as the song goes, Bahay Kubo kahit munti ang halaman doon ay sari-sari.
Correct.
Then you have your singkamas, your talong, sigarilyas, mani, everything. So, in essence, when we design Philippine architecture, it does have that influence, and we definitely have to look at that tradition, culture, climate, and landscape, and edible landscaping,
sustainable route. Yes.
And then all that comes in together, and it really makes a very culturally climatic, responsive architecture that it works for the Filipino.
I wonder what the design process is for you, like from having a concept going into completion.
Yeah, so we nowadays it's no longer the lone architect drumming up and designing his work. We now do collaborative a way of developing our designs, and we have internally we have a design board with the oldest being 85 years old.
Wow.
And it goes down to the junior architects, which are about 24, 25 years old. So we're made up of 12 architects, interior designers, planners in the group. And so together, we come up with a design.
I love it, from millennial to,
yes, it's great.
to icon. But, we're going to talk more about that, right? More of architect Gelo Mañosa when the Daily Dish returns. Stay tuned. We are still with architect Gelo Mañosa, and now we would like to talk about color and how it affects your living space.
Okay.
So, number one, what's your favorite color?
Me, green.
Green.
Obviously.
Why?
I don't know. It's a color that has always attracted me. I guess because it has its neutrality, but at the same time it has color.
Okay, I like that.
And then we were talking about sustainability and environmental considerations playing into your design. So maybe that's it. It's green.
No, this was my favorite color since I was a child.
Since you were young.
Really?
Since I was a child.
Okay, because color affects moods.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
the way you live, right? What's your favorite color, Mai?
I think red.
Red. Okay, so if you put the color red on a building, and even on the walls of your interiors, it gives you a certain, in my unprofessional perspective, it makes it a little bit more intensity, right?
Yes.
So what is it about color language or colorways that affect spaces?
So the nice thing about architecture and interior design is you have the ability to affect moods of people,
Yes.
right? And depending on the spaces, that affects mood, light, daylight, and of course color. The louder the color is, the more energy there is in a room. Like if you had a child with ADHD, you wouldn't be painting his room
red
with the color of red. Yeah,
okay.
It just adds too much.
What would you then suggest for?
So typically the way we like to do our colors is we always like to keep things neutral. At least for the general spaces. You can pop colors with your accents, your chairs, your sofas, your accessories.
So neutrals have more of a calming effect.
A calming effect, yes. And like let's say, it also, like there are colors. Let's say like for eating to get you to eat more.
Which are
orange, yellow seems to be the
preferred color
that affects appetite for some reason.
So maybe that's what you put in your dining space,
or in your restaurant, or
yellow.
in places where you want people to eat and enjoy.
What about the bedrooms?
Bedrooms, personally, I like it neutral because it's a place where it's a place of rest. Typically, that's what the bedroom's for. But I mean, for other spaces like a child's play area, then you can start going in with louder colors.
What is the best neutral for you? For example, in a bedroom.
For me, I always like beige tones. Beiges and browns is our preferred. We don't really do white. Because we think white is the absence of color. So we normally do a beige tone.
White is the absence of color. I'm going to hashtag that. I like that a lot. But I love white. What about for a structure, exterior colors? Are you still going with the neutrals, or it depends, I guess, if the client wants their house or the structure to
it's quite relative depending on the client. But of course, we always like to stick to earth tone colors. So if you like the color red, it would be more like a terracotta red, then a bright fire engine red.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Talking about fire and engine, we are going to have a little game for you.
Okay. There we go.
Is it time for the rapid fire?
It's time for our favorite part.
All right.
I knew there was always something.
There's always something up my sleeve,
There's
huh?
something always.
All right, you want to do the first one?
Right, I'll go first. Minimalist or maximalist?
Maximalist.
Morning person or night owl?
Night out.
Like pretty. Sketch or digital?
Sketch.
Classic or modern?
Modern.
What's your favorite building material?
Bamboo.
This dream city to design in?
New York.
New York. So when you're working, do you prefer coffee or tea?
Tea.
I know the answer to this one. Mountains or beach?
Beach.
Organized or messy desk?
Messy.
Messy.
Planner or spontaneous?
Spontaneous.
Music while working, yes or no?
Yes.
I think I know the answer to this one, and you might be married to this person. But biggest work distraction?
Yeah, the wife.
The wife. So for stress relief, gym or chill at home?
I'd say both. Both, yeah. But if it's like really bad stress, it would be gym.
Really?
Yeah.
Pumping that iron, okay? Function or form?
Function.
Why?
Because function always drives form. It always does. There has to be purpose in the design.
That's nice.
Nice.
Bold or subtle design?
It depends on what it is for. Can be both.
Or what the client wants?
Yeah, or what the project is. I mean, if it was a museum, then it would be a bold kind of a design.
Okay, this next one, you can't choose both, okay? You can only choose one, okay?
Okay.
Inspired by nature or culture?
Culture.
Culture. Why?
Because Filipinos in general, our culture is very distinct. And you can see right away in architecture how it fails. I'll give you an example. You go to Hong Kong, you see, in the 80s, you'd see all these beautiful buildings, done by British architects. And then you'd turn around and you'd see the bamboo poles sticking out with all the laundry hanging outside. And then you realize that's a failure in understanding the culture of a people, wanting to dry their clothes not using a washing machine or dryer, right?
Very interesting perspective.
And so all of a sudden, you start seeing you fail to understand the culture.
Oh my!
So you cannot impose what you want in terms of a design without taking into consideration what the people live with.
Just like if you designed an airport anywhere else in the world, you take an Uber to the airport and you get on the plane. Here, the whole barangay goes to drop off a guy in the airport and pick him up, right?
I haven't had that experience. I want the barangay to pick me up with a
and also welcome you back.
Yes, I like that with matching.
It's part of the culture. Hospital designs, when we were doing Medical City, we were working with a foreign consultant, and they couldn't understand why there'd be a refrigerator and a convertible bed in the bedroom.
Really? Why?
Because to them, you don't bring food into it's like no.
And that's funny because I thought it's a normal thing for us, man.
No. But for Filipinos in our culture, yes, we bring food. It's not for the patient. It's for the people that come and visit.
Patient, you don't matter. We do. We need to be fed.
And there's visiting hours in other countries. Here, there's no visiting hours. You have
bantay.
You have bantay.
Yeah.
So it's part of our culture.
So
so you have to design based.
If you were to design our airports,
that's interesting.
And you see our culture with like big family send-off and like a welcoming committee, welcoming our balikbayans home. How would you design it?
You'd have to design with that in mind. So you'd have big concourse areas outside the extensions. You'd have separate drop-off and pick-up points as well for different types of people. When I say different types of people, they could all be Filipinos, but one can be the type that has a whole barangay pick him up. Another one can be the type that grabs a taxi. Another one has a type that gets picked up by a private car or takes a bus. So you'd have to have different locations for different types of pickups as well. And unfortunately, we did not think on the culture side. We just designed based on what the standard airport
function would be,
which would seem quite logical when you get into it. But our culture is very different.
Yeah, I love that question, Mike. That's super cool.
It's very different.
Yeah. Okay.
For the next one,
experiment or tradition?
This one's both. I like experimenting to create innovation because without experimentation, you don't push the envelope on challenging the status quo, right? But you have to understand tradition. You have to understand where you come from.
And what have you experimented on?
We've experimented on things like that, like playing with earth mass, taking the Bahay Kubo to new heights, experimenting with materials, how local indigenous materials can be used in contemporary ways. Indoor air quality, even to that extent, how passive cooling affects structures using wind tunnels. So we've experimented quite a bit, and it's always important to keep, having that childlike ideology in mind. Otherwise, you end up just creating boxes every single project you do.
I'm very curious about something you said, taking the Bahay Kubo to new heights. What's the next level Bahay Kubo for you?
That's honestly what we try to figure out every single day. It's how to make it world class. It's how let's say a foreign eye can look at it and accept it as something that they would love for themselves, right?
All right.
All right, the next one.
Next one for you.
Second to the last question. If you had $1 billion pesos right now, where would you spend it or how would you spend it?
And be cheeky about it.
Where would I spend it? I'm an architect and I love building homes. So I would probably build another home. Maybe on an island, as you would. But I would definitely build it a little different.
I was hoping for a cheeky answer. And lastly, Gelo, if you had to serve a daily dish, what would it be?
Yeah, what's your favorite?
Favorite dish?
A daily dish? Sinigang.
Sinigang na?
Na anything.
Sinigang na anything.
Very Filipino.
Very
I
Pinoy.
love it.
Thank you so much, Gelo. Thank you so much for joining us. Architect Gelo Mañosa, CEO of Manosa and Company Incorporated. Thank you once again for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for doing that.